14 spine-chilling gas station incidents exposed, terrifying secrets that will haunt your nights. The clock read 2:17 a.m. when Jenna heard the chime of the door jingling, a sound that usually meant a safe passage for sleepy travelers. But tonight, the hairs on the back of her neck prickled as a tall figure wrapped in shadows stepped inside. He wore a baseball cap low, obscuring his face, but the energy radiating from him felt dark, heavy, almost oppressive. As Jenna rung up his energy drink, his eyes lingered on her too long, sending shivers cascading down her spine. The familiarity of her dimly lit gas station felt suffocating, tainted by his unsettling presence. When he departed, the eerie atmosphere lingered. Jenna forced herself to check the bathroom, uneasy under the fluorescent hum overhead. As she pushed the door open, a chill swept through her gut. There, inscribed on the mirror in deep crimson lipstick, was a cryptic scrawl, "They're watching." The word sank deep, making her skin crawl. Dismissing it as a prank, she struggled to shake the gnawing anxiety clinging to her like the dampness in the air. The phone rang, jolting her from her thoughts. It was her neighbor, a woman who oozed the kind of suburbia charm that made people trust her. "Just checking in," she chirped. But as Jenna chatted, she caught a glimpse of the strange man again, lurking just beyond the pumps, his back turned to her, still in the shadows as if waiting for something to happen or someone. "Everything okay?" her neighbor asked, unaware of the fraying threads of Jenna's nerves. "You sound a bit off." Without responding, Jenna's instinct screamed, and she forced a smile into the receiver, reminding herself that Mill Creek was a safe place, a family-friendly community where good neighbors looked out for each other. Then, as if fate enjoyed a sinister joke, the power flickered, plunging the gas station into darkness. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribcage like a warning siren. Backup lights sputtered to life, casting ghostly shadows through the aisles. Where had he gone? The flicker felt like a warning. The air thickened, crawling with a silent dread as she approached the window. And then it happened. A children's toy, a small stuffed bunny her kids had left at home, materialized right there on the counter. How? Waves of panic rushed through her as she grabbed her phone. When she called home, her kids' laughter echoed in her mind only to be met by silence and an eerie voicemail message instead. Just as she was about to slump against the front desk, she heard a faint scratching sound from the back room, the sound that held promises of horrors untold. Jenna's breath quickened, torn between sprinting through the door or staying put, surrounded by a pitch-black void. What was she facing inside? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Summoning every ounce of courage, she edged toward the door, heart hammering like a clock counting down. Grappling with the gnawing fear inside her, she opened it wide, exposing the dimly lit room. The harsh glare revealed nothing except for scattered boxes and the horrible coldness of the unknown. Something, however, caught her eye, a newspaper clipping tacked haphazardly to the wall, detailing unsolved disappearances in the area. Suddenly, the sense of community she once cherished felt like a lie, a web of deceit wrapped tightly around her. Just then, the door swung open again, bringing her heart to a standstill. A chilling shadow stepped inside, and dread washed over her as the night transformed into something far darker than expected. Who was this next to intrude, and what horrors would this night unfold? Jenna's mind raced, but her body felt paralyzed. The figure stood just inside the doorway, the dim light casting an unsettling halo around him. He was not the man from before, but something darker had arrived. A tattered jacket hung loosely over his gaunt frame, and his eyes, those eyes twinkled with a hint of madness that made her breath hitch in her throat. "Where is she?" he rasped, his voice like gravel. "Excuse me?" She managed to croak, taking a tiny step back. The sound of her own heartbeat thundered in her ears. Your daughter, where is she? He stepped forward, voice lowering to a hiss. The air tinged with a metallic scent that stained the space like an omen. Jenna glanced toward the exit, her instincts urging her to flee, but her feet remained glued to the floor, her mind spiraled. Jenna had no daughter. Had she misunderstood? Or was he some kind of twisted joke? I don't know what you're talking about. She stammered, her voice rising in pitch. The man peered closer, and Jenna recoiled as he raised a finger, stained with something dark, probably blood, and traced a line through the air, as if drawing an invisible thread between them. I can hear her screams, he whispered, his breath hot against her face. This town, it feeds on fear. And it wants more. Panic clawed at her throat. She then heard a different noise, a low growl emanating from behind the shelves. It wasn't just in her mind, it was real. Suddenly, the fluorescent lights above her flickered erratically before dying completely, plunging her into a suffocating darkness. Jenna, a voice whispered through the silence, her name rolling off the tongue like a chill. Her stomach dropped, the voice unmistakable, the sound of her child. But her sons were at home, and the idea of them being in danger pushed her to the brink of insanity. Leave them out of this. She yelled, her voice tight with desperation. Do you think they're safe? He laughed, a chilling echo in the void that surrounded her. Each laugh reverberated, mingling with her terror. Jenna's pulse quickened, everything shifted in the dark, shadows twisting like they were alive. She stumbled back, her hand brushing against the cool surface of the counter. A beam of light broke through the darkness momentarily, illuminating a flicker of a figure watching from the edge. Jenna's breath hitched as another shadow joined the first, wavering ever so slightly. Let her go. Came a voice from the new figure, this one too familiar. The hairs on Jenna's arms stood. It was her neighbor, but the softness in her voice was gone, replaced by something sinister. What have you done? Jenna's mind raced with questions, desperately searching for clarity through the fog of fear. They're all part of it, Jenna. You've been chosen. What? A laugh slipped through her lips, tinged with terror, barely holding on to sanity. Chosen for what? Sacrifice. The town feeds. Until it gets what it wants. The growling intensified, each noise clawing at her, begging for release. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered on, illuminating a scene that was far worse than she had ever imagined. The walls around her echoed with cries and pleas. The newspaper clippings, the toy, the strange man, all bound by an unseen thread of doom. Welcome to Mill Creek, her neighbor said, a smile creeping onto her face that twisted her kindly features into something monstrous. It's time to play. Jenna felt the floor beneath her shift, the gas station morphing into something nightmarish as the shadows closed in. She backed into the darkness, dread pooling in her stomach. What do you want from me? As the shadows advanced, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket, a chilling reminder of her children. The last thing Jenna saw before the shadows engulfed her was the grinning figure reaching forward, a chilling grin that promised to turn her world into a nightmare she couldn't escape. What had they done? And what was lurking in the darkness waiting for Jenna's final choice? Jenna's world warped. The shadows tightened around her like a vice, squeezing the breath from her lungs. Desperate, she clawed at the darkness, but it felt alive, dragging her deeper into its claustrophobic grasp. The only sound was the rhythmic thrumming of her heart, resonating like a death knell in the suffocating silence. Jenna, that haunting voice, her child's essence woven into the fabric of her dread, echoed again, pulling her toward the void. The shadows vibrated with mirth, filling the air with a malicious energy. A flash of clarity broke through the chaos. Jenna remembered her boys, their laughter, their small hands clasping hers. They're safe. She choked out, though doubt twisted in her mind. Just a whisper could shatter her resolve. The tension thickened, set against the backdrop of growls and whispers. Your sacrifice will bring them home, the dark figure murmured, shadows spilling from his mouth like smoke. They need not suffer if you comply. No. She gasped, feeling the tide of despair crash over her. She resisted, pushing back against the energy binding her. Yet, all around her was a darkness that sensed her fears and amplified them, each heartbeat thrumming a horrid rhythm that drowned out reason. Through the dim light that flickered and warped, shadows played tricks on her mind. Pairs of eyes glimmered briefly, flickering like dying stars. She stumbled, her leg giving way beneath her. Before she could catch herself, the void swallowed her whole, then came the light, splitting the darkness. Jenna's breath surged back as she blinked against the ethereal glow. What she saw chilled her. This wasn't the gas station anymore. A grotesque mural enveloped the walls, painted with images of distorted faces, their mouths wide open in silent screams. The ground was stained beneath her feet not just with oil or paint, but something far more sinister. Welcome, her neighbor's voice layered with malice rolled through the air like thunder, to the chamber of choices. Choices? Jenna's voice was barely a whisper. Fear coiled around her heart, suffocating any remnants of hope. Yes. Tonight, you choose. The figure before her morphed, slowly revealing the grotesque features of all the townsfolk she thought she knew. Friends with twisted smiles marred by blood, their eyes glistening with hunger. To save your children, you must outsmart the master. Or you will join us, forever. The growling became louder, forming an inescapable chorus circling her, each note a reminder of the horrors awaiting her. Jenna locked eyes with the neighbor, the flicker of compassion gone, replaced by a fevered madness. She turned on her heel as a howl erupted from the shadows. In that instant, something primal surged within her survival. The oppressive shadows lunged forward, but Jenna darted to the side, escaping the grasping claws. With her heart racing, she sprinted down an inexplicable hallway that stretched out like a labyrinth. Walls shifted, pulsating with a life of their own, each step leading her deeper into a reality where time lost meaning. Murmurs echoed, confessions of lost souls that once dared to escape, but a cry pierced through a boy's voice, barely above a whisper, calling her name. Mom! Please! She knew that sound, her son's, trapped somewhere. I'm coming! She shouted, but the shadows screamed louder, threatening to drown her resolve. Choose, Jenna! The twisted neighbors echoed, faces morphing into a grotesque gallery, just watching, waiting for her decision. I want to play your sick game. She screamed, rage igniting her will. But looming behind her, she felt the shadows creeping in, an impending doom tightening all around. Then face the consequences, hissed the figure, and with that, she saw them, a pair of glowing eyes tracking her, a monstrous shape slinking in the dark. Could she outrun the terror lurking behind her? Or would she succumb to the fate awaiting those who refused to choose? Time was slipping away. What path could lead her to salvation or damnation? The hallway stretched on endlessly, every breath Jenna took filled with dread. The walls pulsed around her, alive with whispered secrets and dark promises. She ran, heart hammering, mind racing. Every instinct told her to turn back, but the growl of the shadows behind her was relentless, a primal sound of hunger that clung to her skin like a chill. Mom! Please! The voice cut through the din, sharper than glass. It was her son, the sweetness of his plea mixing with her terror, pulling her forward. I need you. Ethan. Jenna bellowed, but the name was lost in the waves of sound churning in the dark. The voices, so many voices, began to blend together, shaped by desperation and anguish. In that moment, she hesitated. Were they echoes from the past or a warning of her future? A flicker of light shone ahead, a glimmer against the encroaching shadows. Jenna dashed toward it, hope blooming in her chest like a firework. As she approached, she saw what looked like a door, half ajar. Peering in, she felt an otherworldly tug beckoning her forward. It was then she heard the faint stirring of laughter mingling with her son's cries. Come play, Mommy, the voice came again, sweet yet sinister. No. She tore her eyes away, clutching her head as if to shove the unsettling sound back. The laughter echoed and morphed into diabolical chuckles, mocking her defiance. She had to keep moving. The door now wider, shadows curled at the edges, beckoning her into a room lit by flickering candles. Each flame danced with a mind of its own, illuminating pages full of unspeakable horrors, detailed accounts of others who had come before her, their choices leading to despair or worse. Names scrawled in blood. She shivered, recognizing some of them. Neighbors, friends, the woman at the grocery store. Their spirits trapped, lost between decisions made and those regretted. "Pick wisely," a voice hissed from behind. It was the faceless figure, shifting with the shadows, malice radiating from its form. "Your sons can live, but someone else must take their place." The weight of his words slammed into her. The darkness thickened and tightened like a noose around her neck. She was tethered to the reality of her choices. Could she really sacrifice another life to save her own? "I would never," she shouted defiantly. The figure laughed, a grotesque sound that echoed through the chamber. "Every hour, someone must choose, sweet girl. It is the only way to keep the darkness at bay." Jenna felt panic rising within her. "I don't want to play your twisted game." "Then choose your fate," it whispered. The shadows thickened, swirling around Jenna as if anticipating her move. Fingers trembling, she reached for one of the books, opening it to reveal a horrific tale that sent icicles down her spine. It was the story of a mother who had sacrificed her child for a chance at freedom. Broken, desperate, she had thought she saved her other children, but the costs were horrific. Jenna clapped the book shut, heart racing. "I want to do it. I want to choose." The walls shrieked, the candles flickered madly as if her defiance challenged the very structure of this wretched place. She could feel the unseen eyes watching, waiting. She turned to the exit, knowing she had mere moments before the shadows consumed her, but as she stepped back towards the door, something brushed against her ankle, cold and wet. She recoiled, looking down at the floor now alive with restless tendrils stretching toward her. "Help!" a chorus of ghostly voices echoed, each voice familiar and twisted, weaving together in a haunting melody of sorrow. Before she could understand, a pair of small hands gripped her leg. Jenna gasped, looking down at the tiny figure rising from the depths. It was Ethan, his eyes wide, pleading. "Mom! Help me!" Jenna's heart shattered, anguish tearing through her. But as she reached toward him, she realized the truth. The shadows were hungry, and what they wanted was not just her soul, but her choice. "Make it, Jenna," the figure called, an edge of darkness twisting through its voice. Would she dare choose? Or become just? Another lost echo in the growing darkness, the shadows writhed and regrouped, ready to engulf her. The choice loomed closer, and time was running out. Would she sacrifice herself, or would she reach for the light knowing it could cost more than she ever imagined? The looming question clenched in her throat. She whispered, "What will it be?" The shadows swirled tighter around Jenna, pulsating with a life of their own. She could feel the oppressive weight of their hunger, a deep void reaching for her soul. Sweat trickled down her back as the whispers grew louder, warping into screams that echoed with every tortured soul lost to this place. "Ethan," she screamed, the name ripping from her throat, desperate. "Hold on to me." The small hands around her leg began to tremble violently, the innocent touch becoming a frantic grip. His face was pinched with fear, eyes impossibly large in the dim light. She wanted to reach down and pull him up, but another tendril of darkness shot out, wrapping around her wrist like iron chains. "Mom! Help!" He cried again, his voice cutting through the cacophony, piercing her heart. In that moment, she felt the pull of two worlds, one longing to drown in the dark comfort of the shadows, one bright with her son's innocence. She could see the darkness behind him, slithering closer, twisting to encompass them both. It beckoned, promising peace, release from the agony of choosing. "No!" Jenna gasped, feeling the pressure rise in her chest. Her mind raced. She couldn't let them take Ethan. Not her baby. Not ever. The air inside the room crackled with tension, and she braced herself, fighting against the whispers urging her to decide. "I'll never give up on you," she shouted, a fierce determination surging within her. "Ethan, still trapped beneath the shadows, twisted and writhed. "Mom! Don't leave me!" His voice trembled, cracking under the weight of his fear. And there it was, the dark seed of doubt planted in her heart. What if she couldn't save him? What if the only way to pull him out of this nightmare was to pay the toll demanded by the shadows? Choose. The faceless figure slithered forward, more tangible, a grotesque mockery of a human form. Each word dripped with malice and seduction. "You know the price." Jenna felt her resolve hardening. "No," she yelled, forcing every ounce of strength into her voice. "I refuse to be a part of your game." In that moment, the shadows recoiled, and for a flicker, the room's temperature dropped. The candles sputtered, forming grotesque shapes around her. "Then he is lost, and you will never escape," the figure taunted, its laughter echoing. The whispers transformed into a cruel symphony of despair, knifing at her thoughts, wrapping around her mind like a vice. But she wouldn't let them win. The love for her son was worth any torment the darkness could devise. With every fiber of her being, she lifted her leg, pulling Ethan closer. He was still there, trapped but not yet lost. "Ethan," she whispered, hoping he could hear her over the chaos. "You have to fight. You can't give up." The darkness around her reacted, thrashing in anger. The shadows morphed, taking the form of twisted limbs and anguished faces, each one reaching out for her, pulling her down into their depths. "You can't defeat us. Choose." They screamed, their voices merging into a deafening roar. Jenna closed her eyes, drowning out their cries. "I will never choose." A surge of warmth filled her, ignited by the power of her love. With one last push, she yanked her leg free from the grasping tendrils, dragging Ethan from the dark maw that threatened to take him. As he stumbled upwards, little feet making contact with solid ground, Jenna felt the shadows pull back momentarily, hissing like a wounded beast. But she knew they weren't done, they were only regrouping. "Together," she urged, her voice trembling. "We will find a way." But all at once, the laughter returned, loud and cruel, a dark celebration of her struggle. The walls pulsed again, and the room twisted around them, losing its structure. Everything blurred, and the candles flickered dangerously, plunging the space in an uneven rhythm of light and dark. "Mom, where are we going?" Ethan's voice was small, the fear palpable. "We'll find a way to escape this nightmare," she cried, but doubt crept into her heart. Could they really escape? And at what cost? As the shadows closed in once more, a sinister truth lurked behind their embrace. The figure raised its bloodied hands, the darkness swirling with malicious intent. "The choice isn't over." Jenna felt the walls tighten, and she knew they were running out of time. The next decision would matter more than anything before. Would it be light or despair? The shadows waited eagerly, ready to swallow them whole. "What will we do next?" she breathed, uncertainty pooling deep in her gut as the darkness lunged once again. The air thickened as the shadows lunged, desperation clawing at Jenna's throat. She gripped Ethan's hand tighter, feeling the warmth of his small palm anchor her against the encroaching malevolence. They were swallowed by the obscurity, but the flickering candles around them cast bizarre shapes, illuminating fleeting snippets of their surroundings, an old, cracked mirror reflecting twisted faces, and walls adorned with grotesque engravings that seemed to writhe and whisper. "Mom!" Ethan's cry was barely a whisper now, lost within the chaos. "We can't let go," Jenna shouted back, her voice fierce but wavering. The shadows were like fingers, sliding across her skin, coaxing her to submit. "Stay with me, Ethan." Each step they took was weighed down by an oppressive dread. A noise echoed behind them, a guttural sound like the growl of a beast simmering just below the surface. Jenna's heart raced. She dared not look back, the room felt smaller, closing in around them like a vice. With every breath, the darkness seemed to tighten its hold. Penny for penny, it sought to collect its terrible toll. Jenna felt the weight of the shadows pressing down, urging her to cower, to yield. "Mom, what do we do?" Ethan's voice trembled, full of fear and confusion. I don't know. But we can't stop moving. She forced confidence she didn't feel into her tone. Just hold my hand, okay? Keep your eyes on me. The walls shimmered with shadows, warping in ways that defied reality, contorting into familiar shapes like the faces of friends and family long lost, calling out to her in sympathy. Each visage, a cruel reminder of the choices placed before her. Join us, they crooned in unison, a siren's call that churned in Jenna's gut. Mom. Ethan's innocent voice brought her back, and a rush of determination flooded her. She turned sharply, directing her gaze at a flicker of light near the corner. It wasn't much, just a glimmer, but it was enough. It tempered her dread with a spark of hope. There. She cried, pointing toward the glow. We can make it to that light. As they darted forward, the shadows writhed in agitation, thrashing about, desperate to clutch at their ankles, to drag them back into the void. Jenna felt their claws graze her skin, ice-cold and burning all the same, leaving behind an echo of sorrow. Ethan's grip slackened slightly. Mom, I can't, just a little more. She yelled, pulling him forward. But the shadows swirled faster now, twisting, morphing into tentacle-like limbs, tangling around her legs, pulling her closer to the dark heart of the room. Mom, please. Ethan sobbed, his helplessness piercing her heart like an arrow. In that moment, Jenna grasped the full weight of what they were fighting against. This wasn't just about escaping the darkness. It was about fighting for Ethan's very spirit against a force that thrived on fear and despair. The shadows weren't just after their bodies, they wanted their souls. Not today. She shouted, channeling every ounce of her love, every precious memory of joy, every smile and laugh they had shared. You're not taking my son. With a surge of strength, she broke free from the shadow's grasp, pulling Ethan along, his small body bumping against hers as they raced toward the light, but as they neared, the room shook violently. The shadows screeched, their cries echoing like 1,000 anguished souls. The figure twisted back into view, face contorted with rage, its blood-stained hands outstretched. You think you can escape? You're just delaying the inevitable. In that moment, Jenna's breath caught in her throat. She turned to Ethan, seeing the fear etched on his young face. His wide eyes reflected her own growing panic. Mom, what if it's not enough? No. We won't let them win. She cried, but doubt gnawed at her resolve. The light flickered ominously. As they dashed towards the glow, Jenna realized the truth. Escape might require something far deeper than a mere sprint. Would she have to face the beckoning darkness head-on? The ground beneath them trembled as the shadows seized one last time. Ethan! Jenna screamed. Feeling the ground give way beneath them. And suddenly, everything opened into a void. A swirl of black and white as they plunged deeper into the unknown. What lay on the other side? Would they find freedom or an even greater horror? The darkness spun, swallowing their screams as they fell into the abyss. The sensation of falling twisted in Jenna's gut, as if gravity itself had betrayed her. Whirling through the darkness felt endless, it wrapped around her like a suffocating shroud, stifling any shreds of hope. Ethan's small hand slipped from hers, and panic surged through her veins. Ethan! She yelled, her voice swallowed by the void. The fear she felt clawed at her mind, a primal scream echoing in the silence. She couldn't let him go, not again. Suddenly, a harsh, blinding light erupted around them, forced into being by an unseen force. The swirling darkness peeled away, revealing a harsh, fluorescent-lit space. Jenna stumbled forward, her heart hammering. She gasped as she found herself inside a disheveled gas station, the kind no one stops at anymore, the kind that feels forgotten by time. Shelves lined with dusty bags of chips and expired soda loomed around her, casting long shadows that felt alive. Ethan was nowhere in sight. Panic dug its claws into her chest. Ethan! Where are you? Her voice trembled, increasing her urgency. She took a shaky step forward, and the moment she crossed into the main corridor, she noticed the shadows pulsing at the edges of the shelves, warping and churning like oil in water. The bright lights flickered overhead, creating a strobe effect that sent her heart racing faster. "Mom." Ethan's small voice broke the oppressive silence, a soft whisper that sent a jolt of relief through her. She whipped around toward the sound, her breath catching in her throat. He stood at the far end of the aisle, looking tiny against the towering shelves. His face was pale, an expression of confusion mingling with fear. "Why did we come here?" "I don't know, baby, but we have to stay close." Jenna rushed toward him, but the closer she got, the more the shadows pushed against her, as if they were alive, seeking to squeeze the light out of the space. The ground trembled beneath her feet. She reached Ethan, grabbing his hand just as the fluorescent lights blinked out, plunging the space into darkness. The shadows surged forward, clawing at her ankles, attempting to pull her back to the void they had escaped. "Hold on!" she screamed, pulling him close. She could feel the icy fingers of despair wrap around them, sapping her strength. "Mom!" Ethan cried, the sound of his fear piercing her heart. "What is happening?" The ground shook again, and a faint whisper filled the air, echoing words that curled around her mind like smoke. "Join us, let go, shut up." Jenna shouted back, her voice cracking under the weight of her own terror. "You don't have him." But something in their whispers tugged at her resolve, eroding it. She could feel Ethan's hand trembling in hers, sensing her faltering spirit. "Mom, I'm scared," he whispered, his voice so small it threatened to shatter her heart. With every ounce of strength, Jenna pulled him close, pressing her forehead against his. "I know, but we have to keep moving. The only way out is forward." Taking a tentative step, they advanced deeper into the gas station, where shadows twisted and turned, revealing long-forgotten memories of lost travelers. Faces she didn't recognize screamed through the walls, begging for release, begging for souls who might save them, but Jenna pressed on. They burst into the restroom area. The air was thick and stale, suffocating her. "Mom, look!" Ethan's finger trembled, pointing toward a cracked mirror hanging on the wall. In it, she could see more than just her reflection. She saw a parade of shadows rising behind her. Each faced her, contorted in agony. "No. No." She muttered, fighting the urge to turn and flee. That a sudden crash echoed from behind, a door swinging open. A figure stumbled into view. Tattered clothes clung to them like dead leaves, skin pale and eyes hollow. Jenna squinted. "Who are you?" "Help me," the figure whimpered, reaching out. Jenna's heart raced. Would she help this lost soul, or would it just lead to more darkness? "Ethan, stay back," she called, assessing the figure, fear battling desperation within her. But then, the lights flickered back on, casting harsh illumination. On the horror surrounding them, the gas station was alive with shadows, swarming, threatening, waiting. What did they want? And how much longer could they escape? Jenna prepared to push forward, but felt a familiar tugging at her heart. Would the shadows feast on her doubts? As they lingered in uncertainty, the ground trembled beneath them once more, threatening to swallow them whole yet again. Jenna's heart raced as shadows pulsated around her, a cold whisper flickering against her thoughts like ice on her skin. She tightened her grip on Ethan's hand, feeling the steady thud of his pulse echoing her own mounting fear. The figure stumbled forward, now stepping into the harsh light, revealing a face twisted in a permanent scream, lips stretched wide, eyes bulging. "Help me," it begged again, but the sound slipped through the air like poison, settling deep in her gut. "Get back!" Jenna shouted, pushing Ethan behind her as an instinctive, maternal shield. The gas station's fluorescent lights flickered above, casting eerie shadows that twitched and danced, as if they were part of some grotesque waltz. The air was thick with acrid fear, suffocating her every breath. She glanced around, searching for another exit, but all she could see were the warped reflections in the cracked mirror, contorted faces reaching out in anguish, as if begging her to join them. "Mom!" Ethan's voice trembled as he stood just behind her, his small frame quaking with dread. She turned to him, forcing a smile, though it felt like stretching a mask over raw panic. Stay close. We'll find a way out, I promise. But as she turned back to face the figure, it had drawn impossibly closer. Its mouth opened and closed in a harrowing, silent scream. Jenna felt her heart skip. That blank stare locked onto her, and each second felt like a lifetime. Help me, only you can save us. A chorus of whispers filled the space, echoing her name in haunting monotones. Jenna, Jenna, Jenna. It felt as if the walls were breathing, closing in around them. She felt a tug in the pit of her stomach, a seductive pull, a promise of escape if she submitted to the shadows. No! She yelled, shaking her head furiously, shaking off the shadows' grip on her mind. But the gas station seemed to respond, the very ground vibrating with a malevolent energy that sent waves of nausea coursing through her. Ethan squeezed her hand tighter. Mom! She couldn't lose him. Jenna pulled her son closer, stepping back from the tainted figure. But it lunged, landing just a few feet away, the air thick with a rancid stench. Join us, it hissed, the shadows swirling around its feet like smoke. The echo of its voice melded with others, rising to a mounting cacophony that was deafening, engulfing her thoughts. She shut her eyes and squeezed Ethan's hand even harder. Suddenly, the restroom door slammed shut on its own, and the world shifted. Jenna stumbled, her heart racing. Ethan! She called, panicking as she felt Ethan's grip slipping. Everything around her warped, reality skewed like broken glass. Mom, I can't, he whimpered, his voice shaky. I can't hold on. Ethan! Don't let go. She cried, fear clawing at her throat. The shadows surged forward, stretching towards them like grasping fingers, desperate to drag them down into darkness. A loud bang echoed through the gas station. The lights flickered violently as Jenna stumbled back, feeling the wall collide with her back. A horrible shriek pierced the air, but it wasn't a human sound. It felt ancient and filled with resentment, reverberating through her bones. With a surge of adrenaline, Jenna darted towards the glass door marked exit. But as she reached for it, she glanced back. The figure was advancing, transforming with every heartbeat, melting with the shadows, weaving in and out of reality. They knew she was afraid. Mom, please! Ethan screamed, fear igniting in his wide eyes. The door shattered like glass, and a bright light flooded in. But something within the light wriggled, distorted. Jenna hesitated, ready to face whatever horrors lay ahead. Walk into the light, the figure hissed, now one with the shadows. Your choice awaits. Jenna blinked, only to find herself at a crossroads. What was out there? And could they ever truly escape the gas station? The shadows twisted hungrily, waiting for her decision, ready to pounce. Jenna stood frozen, a bead of sweat creeping down her spine. The bright light beyond the shattered door pulsed like a heartbeat, beckoning, promising safety and salvation. Yet the figure behind her swirled with darkness, its haunting visage carving deeper fear into her heart. Mom! Please! Ethan pleaded, his grip slipping as he craned his neck, searching for something, anything, that could provide a way out. Panic surged within him, and Jenna could see the terror flickering in his wide, innocent eyes. Stay close! She shouted, her voice rising above the moan of the shadows. With each breath, the noxious air seemed to thicken around them, wrapping around her like chains. She could feel the weight of something sinister pressing down, tightening its grip. Jenna felt the pull of the light. What secrets did it hide? Was it truly a path to freedom? She shifted her gaze, torn between the two extremes, the light shimmering with an otherworldly glow and the creeping, advancing shadows that threatened to consume them. Mom! Ethan's voice cracked. Hold on! She pleaded, trying to muster courage. There was a tightness in her chest, a fear that if she lingered too long in this monstrous limbo, they would both be lost. Suddenly, it all felt like a nightmare pulling deeper into the abyss, yet a flicker of resolve ignited in her. She stepped forward, one hesitant foot at a time, as if wading through water. The shadows clawed at her ankles, desperate to drag her back, but she fought against it, pulling Ethan along. We can do this, she whispered, more to herself than to her son. Then a terrible roar filled the gas station, splitting through the air like thunder. The figure lunged forward, its limbs extending out, grasping. Jenna turned, a primal scream escaping her lips. It was a fleeting moment, just a breath, but it was enough for her to realize that fear could not be a choice, it was a cage. "Run!" she shouted, urging Ethan to follow her as she lunged into the light. The world whirled around them, blurring into a kaleidoscope of colors. Shadows snapped at her heels, eager to pull her back into their grasp, but she burst through the threshold, tumbling into the light. For an instant, it felt as if they were untouchable. The cold touch of darkness was replaced by a warmth that enveloped them, but they had only a moment of safety. As Jenna caught her breath, searching for their surroundings, the brightness twisted in on itself, forming a swirling vortex that swept around them. "Where are we?" Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. That was the wrong question. The air crackled and shimmered, and shadows emerged out of nowhere, slithering like snakes. The light that had seemed so inviting transformed into a trap, the warm hues turning sinister, warping into reflections of fearful faces staring back at her. What did we just walk into? Jenna trembled, a cold realization creeping in. They were not free. They had only passed from one nightmare into another. A faint echo of laughter filled the air, deep and hollow, coiling around their hearts like ice. Jenna turned to face the darkness creeping at the edge of the light, her stomach churning with dread. "We're not safe here, Mom. We need to go. We need to." Suddenly, Ethan was pulled from her grip, yanked back into the shadows. "Ethan!" Jenna screamed, lunging forward, but the darkness enveloped him. His terrified face disappeared into the swirling chaos. "Choose." The figure from the shadows bellowed, now towering over her. "Choose wisely, or lose everything." Jenna's heart raced, pounding violently against her ribs. She stood at another crossroads, fear clawing at her throat, choking her. What choice could save them? The shadows dove towards her, hungry to reclaim their prey. "Ethan!" she screamed, desperately scanning the swirling darkness. A chilling thought slithered into her mind. What if it was all a trap? As the shadows lunged, she prepared to face whatever lay within, knowing she had to act fast. But which path would she take next? The light flickered, and Jenna's heart leaped as she realized time was running out. The gas station pulsed with an eerie glow, enough to illuminate Jenna's frantic expression as desperation clawed at her heart. "Ethan!" she screamed, her voice echoing against the walls that seemed to ripple with dark malevolence. She squared her shoulders, pinning all her hopes to the flickering light ahead. With each moment, the shadows tightened their grip, clawing at her ankles, whispering promises of surrender. "Join us, it's easier," they hissed, their voices weaving a seductive spell around her. But Jenna's resolve hardened. "Not today." She bellowed, clutching her fists in defiance, every ounce of maternal instinct roaring to life. She shot forward, tearing through the barriers of light and shadow, feeling the cold tendrils of darkness snap and recoil behind her. Ethan's frightened face was etched into her memory, blurred yet haunting. "Mom!" His voice echoed back to her, a fragile thread connecting their fading hope. Behind her, the figure loomed, monstrous and unyielding, as if it thrived on her fear. "You can't escape the choice," it growled, its voice rumbling like distant thunder. "Sacrifice for him. Or lose him forever." But fear could not dictate her path. Jenna refused to let it control her. She would find Ethan. She couldn't let the shadows define her fate. As she advanced toward the shimmering light, she pictured every joyful moment with her son, the sweet laughter during game nights, the warmth of his tiny hands resting in hers. Those memories ignited her spirit, fueling her as she pushed through the last of the oppressive darkness. "Ethan, hold on!" she shouted again, bursting into a new expanse where light battled against the encroaching dark. But as she turned, breathless and trembling, her heart sank, the visions of joy twisted into grotesque reminders. The space morphed around her, a horrific parody of their lives, where shadows of lost souls wailed in despair, trapped in an eternal cycle of dread. Those haunted faces, once familiar, grasped at Jenna's heart, begging for escape. "Mom!" Ethan's voice cut through the horror, drawing her back to the moment. Just beyond the scuttling shadows, he stood, arms outstretched as if he could bridge the gap haunting them both. "I'm scared. Keep fighting, baby," she cried, stretching her own hands toward him, fueled by love and desperation. Their fingers barely touched, but she could feel the warmth of his spirit, anchoring her to hope. Suddenly, the shadows surged forth, a mass of unrelenting tendrils reaching for Ethan, clawing with the intent to consume. "Choose." The figure screeched in chilling delight, its whispers weaving a web of dread around Jenna's mind. "No!" she roared. "I will not choose your way." In that primal moment, clarity struck. She realized it wasn't just about saving Ethan, it was about standing against the darkness that thrived on fear and despair. Jenna took a breath, focusing on the power of her love for her son, a love potent enough to shatter the oppression around them. "Ethan, come to me," she called, and the shadows recoiled slightly, as if her command had stung them. She didn't waver, she pushed her weight forward, straining against the monsters around her. "Mom!" Ethan cried again, the desperation pulling at her heart, tugging her frantically toward him. Suddenly, a blinding light burst forth from Jenna's heart, radiating a warmth she hadn't felt in ages. The moment it shone brightly enough, the shadows shrieked, swirling away as if scalded. "No!" The dark figure howled, its form dissipating under the radiance of pure love. "Ethan, we're almost there. Take my hand." With trembling fingers, Ethan broke free from the tendrils gripping him and raced toward his mother. As their hands clasped together, a shockwave of warmth surged through them. Jenna felt the darkness unclench, and with each heartbeat, they merged into a brilliant light. Together, they burst through the glowing barrier, tumbling out into a world awash with clarity, where no shadows lingered. The gas station was transformed, no longer a place of torment, it felt like a sanctuary. "Mom! We made it!" Ethan shouted, joy blooming on his face, free from fear. Jenna's eyes brimmed with tears, a mix of relief and love flooding her heart. "Yes, baby. We're safe now." They embraced tightly, the warmth wrapping around them like a protective blanket. But even as they breathed in the calm surroundings, Jenna glanced back, half expecting the figure the echoes of that night would always whisper in her mind. "No," she muttered to herself. "Not anymore." Turning her face to the dawn emerging beyond the gas station, where hope sparked in the distance, she felt the shadows retreating into their own corners without a choice left to haunt her. "Let us go home, Ethan. It's time to leave this nightmare behind," she declared, and together they stepped into the warmth of the morning, leaving the darkness locked away forever. As they turned the corner, Jenna couldn't help but smile. She had faced the depths of darkness and emerged victorious, redefining her own fate with the power of love and resilience. Now, as day broke, their journey into the unknown resolved, she felt a sense of liberation wash over her. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.